Am I the asshole for failing an otherwise good student on her last internship, costing her a job? So, I'll try to make this quick. I'm 32F and a physical therapist in Europe. For 7 years now, I have been working with a local university, taking students in for their placements, and it's honestly one of my favorite parts of my job. In February, I was asked to supervise a student on her final internship, and as usual I agreed. On the day the student was supposed to start, she showed up late, looking like an absolute wreck, and when I asked if everything was okay she broke down crying and told me that her fiancé had literally just broken up with her that morning. Like, over breakfast. I felt so bad for her. I told her that it was fine if she wanted to take a couple of days off and then we'd make them up later. She apologized profusely for being unprofessional, thanked me, and told me she'd start in 2 days and she'd be better. The thing is, she wasn't better. Especially over the first couple of weeks, she would take multiple, long bathroom breaks and come out all puffy-eyed. She did the bare minimum I asked of her, but she was often distracted, didn't remember basic things about patients, didn't know what to do unless I explicitly told her. About 2 weeks in, I told her that unfortunately she wasn't performing and that she needed to step up. She said she already had a job lined up after uni, begged me not to fail her and promised she'd try. We had to have this same conversation multiple times over the 3-month internship because she kept barely improving. I even reeled in her supervisor from school, who told me that the student was committed to doing better and asked me to have patience. Things did not improve, though, and therefore I had to fail her. The student cried and was even a little disrespectful, saying that she wouldn't be able to graduate because of me, that I had ruined her career. I tried to explain my view, but she wasn't very keen on talking and left in the middle of the last day. Later, I got a call from the student supervisor at school, asking me to reconsider because she was otherwise really good, top of her class, apparently, and that she was sure she had at least done the bare minimum. Which maybe she did, but I don't think that the bare minimum is enough in this situation, and I think she didn't learn anything in this internship and would benefit from another one where she could actually learn. The supervisor ended up admitting that this student was going to be working for someone she knew, and that now she had to pass up on a great opportunity because of me. They even implied I was petty for failing this student and that they would reconsider sending me more students to supervise because she felt my grades weren't fair. Honestly, as much as it pained me failing a student for the first time, I was somewhat confident in my decision, but now I feel bad, especially knowing that this has jeopardized me supervising any more students, which is a passion of mine. Was I the asshole failing this student? Edited to add info. Some other users have pointed out that this information I added in a comment should be in the original post, so I'm putting it here. It's fully graded, meaning that we get an Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of criteria. We grade them according to each criteria, and then that adds up to a final grade. Her partial scores in some areas, being proactive, improvement, showing clinical reasoning, were so low that it resulted in a failing grade. I communicated that what she was doing was not enough. Unfortunately, due to character limits I couldn't fully detail every conversation I had with her, but I was very clear with her, and her supervisor when I reeled her in, that she wasn't doing enough to pass, hence the promises of improvement. Not the asshole. I would suggest talking to one of the higher-ups about her advisor's actions. I get being loyal and protective over your students, but attempting to convince you to change your mind about failing a student, who didn't even do anything that she was supposed to, is highly inappropriate. Just because she did barely the minimum doesn't mean she learned anything. It's a shame if their school only strives for the bare minimum, which is what it seems like with her supervisor. You are the asshole. You acknowledge she did the necessary minimum. The whole point of setting a minimum is that a person should pass if they do it. It may be with the lowest possible passing score, but if your expectations are higher than the set minimum standard, then you need to raise the minimum standard and communicate your new minimum. Failing someone who met the minimum standards means you failed to adequately communicate what is necessary to pass. Not the asshole. I had severe depression while I was a medical student. My university made allowances. They let me have time off when I needed it, and let me repeat the year when I, unsurprisingly, failed my final exams. What they didn't do was feel pressured to pass me when I wasn't ready. That would have been wrong on many levels, not least that it could have harmed my future patients. She hasn't been kicked out of uni. She's getting another chance at an internship to prove she can do the job. Yes, it sucks that her fiancé broke up with her. It sounds like she might be depressed. But being kind means giving a second chance, not being pressured to pass someone who shouldn't pass. Not the asshole. I supervise students in my field, and if I had a student falling to pieces for their entire internship and not being productive, responsive with feedback is poor form. If she had stumbled, taken on feedback and improved, or if you hadn't given her feedback throughout, it would be a whole new story. It's actually not your fault she has failed it's her own for not meeting the communicated requirement. If you really feel she didn't learn the skill set expected of a physical therapist just starting out, then it really does sound like she failed and would benefit from the opportunity to retry her internship. Clinical internships aren't just a box to check, she was really supposed to be learning skills and it sounds like that didn't happen. It's not your fault she didn't measure up. You're not the asshole. Not the asshole no if she wasn't doing the job. Who cares if she knows her future boss? Patients trust doctors and PT and other healthcare providers to know what they are doing. It would be wrong to pass someone who didn't do the work. Not sure I'd want to be affiliated with that university anymore either. Just because Susie gets good grades in math and science, doesn't mean the English teacher should pass an F student. Not the asshole. Hell, taking care of people is an important thing, and from the sounds of it, I'd feel terrified if she was my caretaker. You may have saved more lives by preventing her from entering that job. Good on you op. Not the asshole. I take students for my job and the college has never acted that way. You followed their process and she was given multiple opportunities to turn it around. If you take on a student where I am, you could end up being their reference, and that's an awful position to put people in if the student really didn't show they were up to it. Would I be the asshole if I threw out the only photos of someone's dead parents? I know it sounds bad, but it's not that simple, or maybe it is. My partner, Joe's ex and him are friends. I stay friends with exes, so no issue. She's nice but has issues that keep her from leading a functional life. She's at the center of lots of conflict, and struggles with psych issues that affect reliability and consistency. She moves a lot and gets in a lot of urgent situations. She's asked many times for help, and when we can, we do. I like to think that being kind is a benefit to all parties. 9 months ago, before Joe and I moved in together, I helped her move. She doesn't drive, so I had to move her, with her helping. She asked Joe to take a day off work for it, but I WFH, so I did it instead. We couldn't pack all her stuff in my little car, so she asked if I could keep 3 boxes of old photos for a couple days, and we could bring them out, 1 hour away, later that week. I said of course. We finish the move and she says that the photos are the only ones she has of her parents that died and they are her most precious possessions. That weekend I asked to come out and bring her the boxes and she said she wanted to settle in first. Could we wait a few weeks? I say that Joe and I are moving in soon, but, if needed, we can wait a couple weeks. Over the next couple months, there were many convos like this. We kept them in our storage locker for a while, making them less an inconvenience, but still a sense of duty. She faded out of our lives for a bit, ignoring us except to ask for rides a few times. She made some effort a few times to get the pics, but plans quickly fell apart over fights with her BF, citing overwhelm. We stopped trying on the boxes for months. It was a ton of effort and time for something we didn't see every day. Then, May 1st, we stopped using the locker to save money. I messaged her a couple times and she ignored, but the third time, 2 weeks ago, she said she is moving again, and if we just wait until July, we can drop them off, 1 hour away. I said okay, but we can't hold them after. She said she understood and thanked me. I moved on with my day. Yesterday, she texts and asks if Joe or I can meet her friend today and give him the boxes. I arranged for her friend to pick them up at Joe's mum's house since we were working. Mill was with me and volunteered. She gave no time, but Mill said she's free all day, so no matter. Friend never shows up. I text her to ask her if he is still coming. IDK, I'm considering tossing them. They're blocking a door, there isn't space for them. I'm tired of protecting someone else's stuff and wasting time on plans not kept. The boxes are falling apart, and have her mom's writing on them, so they're fragile and hard to move around. I feel terrible about it. I empathize with her and I don't want to be the arbiter of those kinds of irreversible consequences. I might give her a time frame, maybe July 15th, and if she can't arrange to get them or keep a date for us to drop them off, we'll toss them. Would I be the asshole if I threw out the photos? Edit. A lot of people have asked why I don't mail or drop it off. Joe and I have asked for her address, more than once, and she hasn't given it. I plan to not ask, but tell her I need it and see if that gets better results. Also, the boxes are not small. The smallest is about 2x the size of a shoebox and the other two are about 18x18x18. Not the asshole. But personally, I would take them to wherever she is right now, put them at the door and leave. Sorry, but why let someone treat yourself like this? Give her an ultimatum for her to get them from you and that's it. But why WBTA for throwing them out before a last warning? Why WBTA? But it's a good idea to give her a time frame explaining that they are in your way, and are a hassle for you. She is being the asshole at this point, not engaging with you to collect the photos. Everyone sucks here while I get you're being jerked around. You would be an awe for tossing them and she may actually be able to sue you over it, I've seen it done. Don't bother trying to schedule with her anymore. Just make the drive and dump them on her doorstep. Take a photo and text it to her with a current date. Sorry to do this to you, but I can no longer store these and have tried too many times to schedule getting these to you in a timely manner. They're on your doorstep. Also, don't help her move again or you'll be sacked with something else. Kind of find it a little odd that you've given her rides and don't know where she lives. Especially since you helped her move. Not the asshole. I'd text her and say you were gonna leave them outside for her to come get and whatever happened to them from there, happened. I think that's more than fair. I'm gonna say nah, but the X certainly is close to being one. I recognize the inconvenience to you and that is certainly not great for you, but in my opinion tossing them would still be a little harsh. There definitely is an argument that she clearly doesn't care enough, but regardless, that's her parents. You are absolutely not an asshole for wanting to get them out of your way, however. Not the asshole they are her most prized possessions but gives them to someone else and can't be bothered to pick them up or let them be dropped off. If you really feel that guilty, drive them to her and drop them in front of her door. Not the asshole so long as you give her a firm deadline to come pick them up. I think at this point you have done more than enough to just say, if you want them, you need to come collect them by July 15th and if not, they will no longer be in my possession. It sets firm expectations for everyone. If you just toss them without telling her, then that's an issue. Am I the asshole for saying no kids under 12 at my wedding, besides my daughter and stepson? Update. My sil just found out we're not serving booze and that we're only paying for food on the actual wedding day, so she's not coming. This post is irrelevant now since no one else was planning on bringing their kids. TDLR. My wife and I know our autistic can't handle a large wedding, and doesn't want to come, but his mom wants to make him go. We don't want to single him out as not being able to come, so we decided that, besides our own kids, who will be 10 and 11 by then, no other kids under 12 can come. My wife, 28F, and I, 26F, are planning our wedding ceremony for 2023. We're common law married, but we want to save up to have the ceremony at Disney World. I have a very small family, just me, my daughter, my parents, and my twin sister. My wife, however, has a huge family of 30+. She has 13 nieces and nephews, and one is autistic, 4M. That, now due to trauma, is mostly nonverbal. He cries if he's around any adult he doesn't know, hates going anywhere without both his parents, unless it's to our home or his grandparents, and can't go to daycare because he has panic attacks and will faint. He came to our engagement party and we had to send everyone he didn't know home early because it was too much for him, which we didn't mind, it's just relevant. He cries at the mention of having to come to our wedding. He makes it very obvious that he doesn't want to go to the point he hears, wedding, and cries or starts having a panic attack. He can't even go to the park or store anymore, but his mom makes him go. My wife and I think Disney would be way too much and could potentially hurt him further. His mom, my sil, says he'll grow out of it, but refuses to let him go to therapy or see anyone that specializes in helping kids. He's my favorite nephew, and my wife won't say it, but he's obviously hers too, so we want him there, but not at the risk of his mental well-being. He'll only be 6, and Disney is a lot for anyone, but especially a small child that hates crowds and people. Plus, if he gets lost, he can't communicate and my sil refuses to get him one of those bracelets with her name and phone number. My wife and I talked, and we decided that the Disney ceremony would be no kids under 12 besides ours. His brother will be 10 then, so we didn't want him to come but he couldn't. Most of the other nieces and nephews are 16+ except for a sister that didn't want to bring her kids anyway. This means that, if all the 16+ ones come, it'll still only be 5. My sil thinks we're jerks for not wanting to include the little kids, so we came out with the idea of getting a ballroom and throwing a party the weekend before we leave with just family, so our nephew will actually be able to enjoy it and not be overwhelmed. That's not good enough. I feel bad now. I thought we were looking out for him, and his mom was pushing him too hard. But maybe we're being ableist like my Sil said? Edit. Disney isn't just for kids. There's adult-only venues, and plenty of people go without kids. It's just a venue with an amusement park that happens to be where we met. We're paying for a week hotel stay and travel costs for anyone that wants it. Besides, on the wedding day, they just have to pay for food. I have called CPS for the neglect, but they closed the case. The only other kid that was likely going to come was his brother, so he would feel excluded since my other Sil said she wasn't going to bring her kids. Edit 2. We live right next to Disney. Everyone has gone multiple times. No one is really missing anything besides the actual wedding. The kids will probably come stay with us and go to Disney again before the wedding anyway, which makes me worried for my nephew, but I can't control what his mom does. Not the asshole, your wedding, your rules. That being said, everyone in this family sucks for not reporting your Sil for child abuse. Autistic kids need therapy, learning scaffolds, and day-to-day support that she is refusing him. How are y'all not more angry about that? People have dogs who are treated better than this. Not the asshole, and I'm so glad you're looking out for that child. Sil sounds like an awful mom to not A. respect her child's wishes, B. respect your wishes, and C. not be willing to get him the help he needs. Stand your ground. This is not only your wedding, but this decision is also the best for that child. Not the asshole. You're accommodating your nephew's needs because his mother refuses to, at the cost of not being able to have any of the younger kids in the family come. By refusing to get her son professional help and forcing him into overwhelming and traumatic situations, your Sil is doing so much damage to your nephew. Thank you for doing the best you can to mitigate that. Not the asshole. Accommodating your nephew's needs isn't ableist. Your Sil, his mother on the other hand, is refusing to care for him or get him treatment, and that is not okay. You're doing what you can. I hope your nephew gets the help he deserves to have eventually. Take care and congrats on the wedding. 1. These parents refuse to get their autistic son therapy or any supporting care. Their decision-making is not to be trusted. 2. My first memory is from Disneyland when I went around age 4. 6-year-olds remember a ton. 3. Plenty of adults have adult-only weddings at Disney. It's a whole thing. Not the asshole. Your ceremony, do what you want. Your Sil is the ableist one here. I recommend not inviting her. It is just incredibly stupid to not have a number on him. What if he gets lost? Not the asshole, your party, your rules. In my country, people actually get offended if they aren't invited to weddings, and I think it is bullshit. Not the asshole. Your wedding, your rules. You really didn't need a reason, but you do have a great one. I feel so bad for your poor nephew though. Am I the asshole for not inviting my Sil to our monthly sisters' lunch? My sisters and SILs, 6 of us total, have a monthly lunch that we have been doing for the last 5 years. We each take turns picking a new place for us to try, and we make a fun day of shopping, dining, and just generally having fun and spending time with each other. My brother married his wife 2 years ago, and while she is a nice person, she is very difficult to be around. She is really big into social media, so most of the time when she is hanging out with us, she is taking pictures or selfies to post to social media. Quite frankly, she spends more time on her phone than she does socializing, and it is extremely frustrating and annoying. If we want to take a group photo, we are not allowed to post to our own social media accounts, because she will get upset about it. She is also a notoriously picky eater. She has no food allergies or intolerances. We asked because we wanted to make sure if she did we could choose our food, activities accordingly. She said that she just doesn't like to eat those foods. Because of this, she constantly makes substitutions to her food. The last time we went out, she got the mushroom Swiss burger, but asked for no onions. The waitress explained that the onions were caramelized with the mushrooms, and could not be taken out. She got upset and demanded that they make new fresh mushrooms for her with no onions. When the manager said they could not do this, she told them about her social media following and that she was putting them on blast. It was extremely embarrassing and uncalled for, and when confronted, she just said that if people want to be in business they should cater to their customers. She is the one who picked this burger place, so that made this entire situation even more frustrating. After this lunch, my sisters and my other SILs decided that we would not invite her along to the next lunch. We were all tired of having to be social media ready at all times, tired of her constant complaining about every restaurant we go to, including ones that she chooses. So last weekend when we had our monthly get-together, we did not invite her. When her and my brother found out that we went without her, they were extremely angry with all of us and called us out in our group chat for being stuck-up BS. We explained our reasons for not inviting her, and my brother said that we were all just jealous and petty. My other sister's husbands and my other brother agrees with us that excluding her was the right thing to do, but we should have told her first that she wasn't invited. My mom thinks that we are all being rude and unwelcoming to our new family member and should invite her to our outings. Am I the asshole for not inviting her to our monthly lunch? Edit. Since so many people are asking. We all have talked to her about this, numerous times. I personally have spoken to her at least 3 times, including this last time at the burger place about her always being on her phone and about the way she treats the staff at the places we go out. She is very aware, as is my brother, that her attitude and behavior is putting a damper on our monthly get-togethers. She has never once apologized nor has she ever done anything to change. She just dismisses us and acts like we are the ones with the problem. Not the asshole while nice to invite her, she obviously burned that bridge with her horrible behavior. Not the asshole just because you are now family doesn't mean you have to all be friends. You are allowed to only spend time with those people that you want to spend time with. If it's not her, well then it's not her. And if she's now been told the reason why she wasn't invited, she can make an effort to change, and if she doesn't, well that's on her. Not the asshole. She was rude etc. so she kicked herself out. If, and I'm not saying you should, you invite her again, be clear to her that there's a new zero phones rule. No photos, no social media etc. Also just flat tell her where you're going for lunch, that there's a no being choosy and demanding with the staff, and if she doesn't like that or the place not to attend. NTA. Wow, she sure is a character. Like no one else has the permission to post on social media before she does. Lol. As per your edit, I'd say not the asshole. If you genuinely talked to her about it beforehand and it didn't stop, not much else you could do. Not the asshole, but I think you've dropped a long-term drama bomb here. Info. Have you talked to her about the issues before kicking her out of the group, or did you just never say anything? Not the asshole if you have and she didn't change. 'Cause she sounds insufferable. I wouldn't be able to do it.